Tennyson was inspired to write some of his finest works. The Isle of Wight. How will it inspire you? Free phone 0800 138 9191 for an Island Breaks guide.
You're watching TV12.
Hello and welcome to HANNAM. Later, I'll introduce 14-year-old Terry Crow from Godshill, recently starring in BBC Television's The Ghost Hunter. My first guest is probably the most famous DJ on the Isle of Wight, Dave Cannon. He's been doing it for 32 years. Can't believe it, Dave.
Good gracious me, John.
32
years.
You look too young for that.
Telling me clothes.
Cowes, secondary, you started sort of playing records, didn't you?
That's right, in wet dinner breaks. When it was raining, to run home and get my records, run back up to school and put them on a little tiny record player in the corner on the stage and put it through the tannoy system. Goodness knows what it sounded like, but we had a good laugh.
What was the first record you ever bought? Do you remember?
The first record I ever bought was Diana, Paulka, 1957. The top-selling record of that year, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And the last train to San Fernando.
Johnny Duncan.
And the Bluegrass Boys.
Then, of course, Ryde Pier Pavilion you used to go, which was right at the end of Ryde Pier.
I think everybody on the Isle of Wight used to go down there at some time. At that time, if you were young and having a good time on a Saturday night, Ryde Pier was the place to go. All the top groups used to come there. I remember the Tremolos. When they were #1, they were at the end of Ryde Pier playing live. Chris Farlow and the Thunderbirds, Spencer Davis, and one of my favourites was Simon Dupree and the Big Sound.
You saw them a few times.
I have 17 times live. Every time they came to the Island, they were just terrific live.
The atmosphere must have been rather special.
Well, down at the end of the pier, I think it held 1,200 people. And they used to run special trams up and down the pier at the end of the evening to take us all back home, and the trains. I don't think they do that today, but they used to then. All that's left now is a lot of piles just sticking up.
Ryde was sort of throbbing in those days for music, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. The Castle, the Babaloo, we'll get to that in a minute. The Ryde Pavilion, the Rolling Stones appeared live at Ryde Pavilion. They charged £300, I think. They charge a little more now, I would imagine, but
they did 2 shows, didn't they?
They did,
afternoon
yeah,
and evening.
Packed.
Amazing. La Babaloo, which was a very, very famous island night spot. You started courtesy of
Malk Lawrence, Uncle Malk. I love Malk. He gave me the chance. I said, "Can I play a few old records?" He said, "Yeah, of course you can." And I sat in the DJ box, shy and hid away in the corner. He said, "Sit up, nobody can see you." I said, "All right, fair enough." He said, "I just love playing records," and that's how I started. And he let me have a chance, and it went on from there.
It's now a sort of drive-in McDonald's, I think, isn't it?
It is, yes. I took a photograph of it when it was rubble the other day, and just to see what then and now.
What was so special about La Babaloo, really?
What was special about the La Babaloo? I just suppose the atmosphere, the type of people that went there. There was never any trouble. It was a club, open till 2 o'clock in the morning, which is unusual. It was the Isle of Wight's first discotheque that played records and had live bands as well. But it was just a unique atmosphere at that time. It was just something special. It often happens, and it won't happen again.
Do you remember your first gig as Dave Cannon?
At the Royal York Hotel.
Really?
As a mobile DJ, it was at Royal York in the bar. They had the main ballroom where the group and the other DJ, well, I think it was Dave Cass was the other DJ.
Dave Cass is a name from the past.
And I was up in the bar just to give it a bit of music in the other bar, like a quiet bar with music. And that's how I started.
I know a great part of your life was down at the boat.
Oh, the Rye Queen. I spent 5 lovely years there. That was another unique place, and it had a unique atmosphere. Very sad to see it the way it is now, a rusting hulk in the River Medina. And to think all the people that used to bring to the Isle of Wight, thousands and thousands of people it brought to the Isle of Wight in the 30s, 40s and 50s, and the 60s as well. and to see it rusting away is very, very sad to me, to see it like that.
You once told me a lovely story about a taxi driver took someone.
Oh, I think it was somebody at Cowes. They got in a taxi, said, "Take me to the boat," meaning the Red Funnel Ferry. But the taxi driver thought the boat, being the boat, everybody knew it as the boat, took him to the boat, and the guy walked up the gangway with his cases. And the doorman said, "Excuse me, sir, where are you going with those?" He said, "Come to go to Southampton." He said, "Not on this one. You can have a dance if you like, but you can't go to Southampton on it." Yeah, good times.
What was the attraction really for the Ride Queen in a way?
It was unique. The Medway Queen was there before it. It was a paddle boat, and to walk on a paddle boat with nobody in it is still unique. It has an atmosphere as soon as you walk on board. And have there was 2 discotheques on there at the time, one down below for the youngsters, and I was upstairs for the older ones, the 30-year-olds at that time. And it was just unique, a terrific atmosphere to walk on a paddle boat that had music. All the engine rooms were open and all lit up. It was good.
Solent City Sound, everyone knows you for that. How did that begin, really?
A friend of mine, he was a friend of mine vaguely. He used to do electronic repairs, and he built a mobile discotheque, or portable discotheque unit, and he wanted a DJ to run it. And he came up and saw me at the Babaloo. He said, "Would you like to work for me?" I said, "Yes," and we went from there. And in 1974, he went to Australia, and he sold me the business for £100. Van, records, discotheque, the lot. £100. Derek, his name, Derek Hockley.
There was also a story about the Lucky Dip Shop, which people...
Well, that's where he worked. He did the repairs for the Lucky Dip Shop, because I used to buy records from the Lucky Dip. It was on Coppins Bridge to start with, and it moved up to opposite where the county hall is.
And it just snowballed from there, really, didn't it?
Yeah, went on and on and on, yeah.
And you've had lots of guys working for you.
Yeah.
Lots of DJs have learnt their craft from you, David.
Hopefully so, yes. I try to teach them the best I can, and I just love playing music. That's what it's all about to me. I just love music, and I love giving people in front of me a kick, giving them a good time.
You started those cruises too from Ryde Pier, didn't you?
Yes, we still do that. Well, I haven't done one last year, but we will be doing one hopefully this year, the year 2000, the first one of the new century. We do them from Ryde once or twice a year, 60s, 70s music on a boat, and once again it's a different night out. If you come along, you'll have a different night out. You can't do it every week.
Ever lost any records anywhere?
500 once. I thought that was the end of my career. We finished a cruise one night at the end of Ryde Pier. It was a bit windy. It wasn't a rough night, but it was a bit windy, and some helpers were taking... I was in my van at the time, and somebody was helping off with the records, and the boat blew away from the pier, and the gangway came away from the boat, and the gentleman and my records went between the boat and the pier. And I thought, that's the end of it. There goes my records, there goes my livelihood. Luckily, the gentleman was okay, and sent Martin Woodward,
the diver,
the diver, down in next morning to get my records back, and he got 3/4 of them back for me.
Could you play them or not? Some of them?
About 2/3 of those were playable. Some weren't, but I was so lucky to get them back. I was devastated when I saw them. I didn't even know whether records floated or not until that time. But they don't, they sink.
Dave, over the years you've been able to sort of live with all the crazes and all the sort of rock and roll into the 60s music and whatever, punk. You've lived with it.
Everything.
And you're sort of an entertaining DJ.
Now I am,
yeah.
More so, yeah. I do all the hotels, I get lovely crowds in the hotels, and not just playing records, you involve the audience as well, and that's lovely as well. See all these people that don't even know who I am from the mainland on holiday, having such a good time, and get a real kick out of it when they all come and shake your hand at the end of the night and thank you for a lovely evening. And it's just wonderful. The places like the Shanklin Hotel I work and the Sandringham Hotel, they're big hotels, and they're lovely people that go to them.
Quizzes you have, don't you?
Oh yes,
they love their quizzes.
Big fun on the quiz. A gentleman the other day, he said, "I'll ask you a question. Who was the sportsman that had a hit in..." I said, "Before you go any further, sir," I put my disc in. It was Muhammad Ali. He was talking about singing "Stand By Me," and he was flabbergasted. I played it. He said, "I give up."
Is there one or two records, or are there one or two records which stand out that you've been asked to play over the years? Anything in particular? One which sort of all comes back, people never tire of it?
The most popular I find for most age groups is Stevie Wonder, "I Just Called to Say I Love You," at the end of the evening. It's a nice song to play, and pleases most people. It's not an offensive record, and everybody seems to like it and sing along with it. And it is the biggest selling Tamil and Motown record of all time.
Dave, you're looking very good. You had a scare a year or two back, didn't you? And
Well, last year was the worst year of my life, yeah. Luckily
Tell
I've
us about
got
that.
my hair back, that's the main thing.
Because it could be an inspiration to other people, really.
Well, when you're told that, your heart drops out your body, you know, when you've been told that and you go through it and you think, well, I've got to go through it. But you go through it, it's a bit like a prison sentence. You think, well, for the next 6 months I'm not going to feel very well, but at the other end of it, there is another end, and I'm here to prove it. And you just go through it and you get out the other end and you think of the future. Don't think of the past or think what you're doing now. You do feel rough sometimes, but you come out of it and you're fit and well.
You kept working as much as you could, didn't you?
I did. That was the best therapy. It was. I went to some of the hotels and I was feeling really ill. I had my cap on because I had no hair, but to go and do that, it takes your mind off it, and it is the best therapy going because I make people laugh and they're making me laugh as well. We have some good fun, and that was the best therapy I could do.
You must have had some strange venues you've been to over the years. Any that sort of stick in your mind, or any small halls? Or you've played most, haven't you, really?
Everything from Ride Theatre right down to people's front rooms nearly for a house party. So yes, there is for everything, you know, everything, and in between, which is nice. You never know what you're going to half the time. They book you for a function. You say, well, yes, I'll come and do that for you, and you go along. You don't know what if it's a strange place, you don't know what you're going to. So it could be Ride Theatre, it could be somebody's front room.
You and Mark Lawrence dreamed up this idea of sort of having reunions, didn't you? Babaloo reunions, which have proved very successful, really.
They are, and we're having another one very shortly.
Oh, are you?
February the 26th at the Royal York. It's just been finalised, so hopefully we'll have a good night there. If everybody can come along.
It's nice because it's a social event.
That's right. It's what I said earlier. It's special people, a unique time, and you're commemorating really a unique time and a unique part of your life. When you were young, and well, we still are, aren't we?
Yeah.
And having a good time, and the music was good, and even youngsters sing along to the 60s and 70s music. You can play any record, and they all sing along to it.
32 years a DJ. It's been your life, really.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else you wanted to do when you were a kid? Was there anything sort of you felt you'd like to do?
Not really, other than being a train driver. No, I've always been interested in music, right from when I was 5, 6 years old. I just loved music, loved the radio, and it went on from there, really. It was a hobby. It was a hobby, and to have your job as your hobby as a job, rather, that's the best of both worlds.
And you've always kept up to date because mini-disc has been a boom for you guys, hasn't it, really?
Oh, yeah, I've had one since 1993. They're just catching on now. That was a blessing from heaven. When they brought a mini-disc out, you could record all your old records onto these little discs and never wear them out anymore.
We're almost out of time, but in a nutshell, have audiences changed very much in your 32 years as a DJ, David?
Have audiences changed very much? In general, no, because the audiences I play to are mixed age groups. I wouldn't be able to do an 18th birthday and want just their music. I couldn't do that, and I wouldn't pretend that I could anymore. I used to be able to, but I wouldn't dare do that now. But no, in general, audiences are still the same. We still have a good time.
Dave, thank you so much for coming in. You look great, and I wish you lots of luck and good health in the future.
Thank you, John.
And keep playing those records, mate.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
I shall be back in a couple of minutes with Terry Crow, recently seen in BBC TV's The Ghost Hunter, and he was the nasty Wally Crab. See you in a couple of minutes.
Have you